Okay, floor is open. Anyone?
Awesome.
Uh, no, go ahead. Go ahead, sister. I don't.
Yeah,
So,
just quick. If there was a recording from the that brief Zoom that you did, I think it was last Wednesday, concerning the AI.
I was gonna try to cover I was gonna cover some of that tonight too.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
to just to show the believers because there's a saying, if you give a person a fish, they eat for a day, but if you show them how to fish, they eat for a lifetime, correct?
That's
Yes.
right.
So
yes.
what I want to do is I want to share with the believers what I've been doing over the past 2 days. I have lost my natural born mind with this chat GPT. And Brother James, when I share with you what I did today, I think everyone's gonna appreciate it, but I think you're definitely gonna appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, uh,
Assalamu alaikum, brother James. Ramadan
Walaikum
Mubarak.
salam.
um, so yeah, what I'll do is I'll let the believers go first. You share whatever Allah has blessed you with, so that we can all ascend on the tone scale based on your case gain. And then I will share with you what Allah has blessed me to do on this end. And I pray Allah that it will inspire the believers to look at uh, modern equipment and our supreme wisdom from a different perspective.
Yes, sir.
So I'll let the believers speak first, and then we will try to wrap things up by hopefully, inshallah, by 7:30, maybe quarter to eight. And I know Sister Naira is having a meeting at 8 o'clock, and I think she might be speaking more about what's going to be taking place at Flag. So the floor is open, and I will wait. Uh, I'll hold my stuff for after the believers speak. So whoever wants to jump on there, go right ahead.
I've been going to YouTube and listening to Minister Farrakhan's lecture uh from years, not years back, but I would say 80 and not early 90s, and uh in listening to them over and in a new unit of time,
Mhm.
it's so interesting how it's like he was conveying this information yesterday. It's so prevalent to what's going on today. So that's what I want to share, brother.
Most definitely. All praise due to Allah. See, the minister speaks past, present, and future.
Yes.
That's what in mathematical language, in the language of calculus, you have something called differentiation. And what differentiation is identifying something called a derivative. You're taking an equation and you're able to figure out what occurred, a particular value in the past. You can identify a value in the present, and you can also predict a particular value in the future. That's the calculus. And it's interesting because the word differentiation in Arabic is furqan.
Wow. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Well,
So,
thank you.
and that's why when we hear the minister's words, his words, the minister's words are what I would call the first derivative of the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad.
Mhm.
Therefore, the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad is called the harmonic, meaning it has layers of wisdom, and different layers are able to be detected at different points in time. It's not just a teaching that was just for that time period. It was a wake up message, but just because it's a wake up message doesn't mean that it's not relevant today in 2025. And
Yes, sir.
the minister's study of those teachings shows us that what Master Fard Muhammad gave to the Most High Elijah Muhammad transcends time. It's outside of time. It's past, present, and its future, if that makes any sense.
No, yes, sir. And you've given a very good comment, a very good comment on that after I'm going through listening to what is it, the time and what must be done,
Hmm.
as well as YouTube. So you just put some icing on the cake. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're gonna get more than icing. You're gonna get a slice of bean pie and something else in a minute. But I share with the believers what I will share with you. It's gonna take your study to a whole nother level now.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
speaking of the wheel, go ahead, Sister Angela.
Navigator. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam, Sister Angela.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan
Ramadan
Kareem.
Kareem.
And happy Savior's Day because
Happy
it's
Savior's
every
Day.
day. Happy Savior. Not everyone had God come himself for them. So praise be to Allah. So I had a conversation earlier and I was telling the sister I had a moment that was past, present, and future perfect tense. And then I get on here and hear what I just heard. So what I got from that moment, I had a reminder. Let's say I was taken on a time track and I was reminded of an earlier incident. And as I was reminded of the earlier incident, I was able to pull the lesson from the problem of that past because now in present time, I'm faced with the same problem. And it actually gave me a way to not just solve the problem, because sometimes is more than 1 plus 1. It's the spirit that we take in the solving of the problem. It's the ability to rise above emotions into the thinking of Allah while we're going through the problem. So not only did it give me a view of the problem, past tense, and answers and how to walk through the problem, it also gave me the ability to not just predict, but by the grace of Allah, put in motion and will the future result of the problem. So I just wanted to share that.
All praise is due to Allah. Live and direct from the wheel itself. Anyone else?
Sure. I was I was given something last night. And so I decided to study it early this morning, around 3, 4 in the morning, and took it on into this morning. As I was thinking on English lesson C1, and then, at the end of English lesson C1, it says, after accomplishing this lesson number C1, at once ask for lesson number C2, which will bring you a profit of $10 per word for studying it. And we know through study that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he is English lesson C2. See, before I've been talking to believers since I think 2007, 2006, telling them, hey, Minister Farrakhan's English lesson C2, how do you know? First, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was present among us, teaching over in Stony Island, in order to see Master Farad Muhammad or to see the God properly, we needed to be able to see one. And that one at that time was Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, in the absence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in order to see Master Farad Muhammad clearly, we need to be able to see two. That's why Minister Farrakhan, he represents two. And we know Minister Farrakhan, he was an English major. He wasn't an English minor. He was an English major in school. So it's established she's English lesson C2. But what I just fathomed yesterday, early in the morning, said, which will bring you a profit of $10 per word for studying it. So as we study the minister intently, and intensify our study and study his words and study his mannerisms, study his actions, study him from top to bottom, left to right, north to south, east to west, we will become enriched through the study of him, the words, because we know Minister Farrakhan, he's a prototype of the new man that Allah is setting up for his kingdom. And that's could easily be proven. How, one quick way, you have a city named after the minister here in the United States. It's called St. Louis. We know Minister Farrakhan is a saint. We know he's a saint. And the most famous monument in that city is the Gateway Arch, because we know Minister Farrakhan, he's the gateway to the messenger and Allah. Also in that city, it separates you have the Mississippi River run alongside, separates east to west. We know Minister Farrakhan separates the Eastern world from the Western world. We also know with Minister Farrakhan, his birth name was Louis Eugene Walcott, Jean in the middle, and his wife's name was Betsy Jean Ross. We know in the formulation of the United States, it was Betsy Ross who was responsible for putting the flag together, sewing it. She didn't design it. So she's a prototype for the new world, the prototype woman. He's a prototype man. It's not a coincidence that they both have Jean as the middle name. His name is Eugene. Her name is Jean in the middle name. And also St. Louis was famous for the Dred Scott decision. That was the decision put down by that St. Louis courthouse that the white man had no rights that the black man had no rights white man had to respect. And Dred Scott, if you look at the word Dred Scott, is dealing with a taxation issue. And that's why they say taxation without representation is tyranny. But Minister Farrakhan, we have to study him and get into his spirit and get into his mind, because what happens, like, it's two sides to that wheel. As a minister, he's a saint, he's St. Louis. But if we ends up on the other side, if we mess up, then we get the other side of him, which is the Louisville Slugger, which is the bat where we get a beat down.
That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
The scholar,
that's what I
Brother
wanted to
James.
touch on. We have to study, and it'll bring us a profit of $10 per word to study the minister.
Yes, sir.
That is truly
Praise
fascinating.
be to Allah.
Yes.
The scholar, Brother James.
Anyone else before we get started? Going once, going twice. Okay. I'm trying to remember how much information we already covered about the Chat GPT. Who was not with us? The AI. Who was not with us when we went over the AI part of?
I wasn't, because I just logged in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was not.
I was not.
Okay, so we went over it. I think did we go over it Wednesday?
Yes, that was.
We did.
Okay, but we've advanced already beyond that. So I want to share with the believers what I was blessed to find. That's right, because it was Sister Shayla that actually started the chain reaction to the whole thing with the differential equations with Brother Jadid. And then I had a meeting with these two scientists, Sister Ani and Brother Wahid, and they shared some information with me. And then in that meeting also was a sister by the name of Sister Deborah L. Muhammad, who does the Supreme Wisdom Educational Center. So if you have the Word document on your computer, I'm going to say it, but I'm going to show you how this works to give you the mass so that there's no gradient, there's no lack of mass. You can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to share with you what I was inspired to dig into the Supreme Wisdom today by the grace of Allah. It just blew my mind. But what we can do is, when you pull up the Word document, in the Word document, there's something that's called dictate.
Yes.
And if you press it, instead of typing on the keyboard, you can actually speak, and it'll dictate your words to the Word document. How many of us are aware of that on our computer?
I am now.
I am. Yeah,
you taught us on Wednesday.
That's how I do my writing.
Okay. So I'm gonna review what we talked about on Wednesday, but I'm gonna give you something new that we didn't talk about.
Oh boy.
The thing is, if you play a video, there's a video, and we spoke about this on Wednesday by Mother Tanet Muhammad dealing with the power of the mind of Master Farad Muhammad. So what I did was I played the video and I hit dictate on my computer and it started typing out it started transcribing Mother Tanet Muhammad's lecture on the Word document. Everyone follow that so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Then, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking all these what ifs. Okay, well, what if, and what if, and what if? So then once I saved that document,
Mhm.
I think I already sent Sister Shayla some of the study guides already. I saved that document, the transcription of the first 15 minutes of Mother Tanet Muhammad's lecture, and I drag and drop that into the chat GPT. And I typed in saying, study guide with 20 questions and answers and test questions. And what do you think AI produced?
We saw it, bro.
Okay, but yeah, but I don't think everyone I don't think everyone was here for that, correct?
Correct. I
Okay.
wasn't.
I
Okay,
was.
so it actually typed up in about 30 seconds a study guide with regards to Mullah Tenet Muhammad's lecture
Hmm.
with study questions.
And remember, beloved, it also showed when you asked it about the number 19. Do you remember that part?
It took us into the number 19 as well and gave us some information on that as well. And so from Wednesday to today, I have probably about I don't know how many study guides I've produced on the different books I have on my bookshelf because I want to there's certain books I wanted to dig into. Now I know my Ramadan is going to be just full of study. Um, so that can be done with Brother Jabril's because the first one I'm jumping on with Brother Jabril is Self First because that's one of my favorite lectures, Self First Part 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, sir.
Deportation of Moon by Sister Ava.
Mm.
Basically everything. I'm converting everything to study guides now for my own sake of because these are things we're going to need to get our heads into when the minister is no longer present. We still have to study. And
Right.
we have to study like we have never studied before in our life. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. During the
Okay.
period of
Sir.
darkness, people are guided by the stars.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Brother Lukeman,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
question.
Uh-huh.
Are you saying that in every lecture that's given verbally, this thing can record it accurately?
I'm going to show you right now,
Show
brother.
them the
Salam.
sample.
I'm gonna show you it live as it's happening.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's right.
Okay. So just give me 1 second to set everything up.
Brother Martin, you're going to love this, brother. When he showed us this last Wednesday, we all were excited.
Okay, there's that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Is that Brother Martin from Detroit? That Martin?
No, sir, from New Jersey.
Oh, okay, New Jersey. Okay.
He's the bean pie man. The
Come
bean
on
pie
now.
man.
Coming at your door.
Okay. Let's see. Let me put this here. Let me start a new document. Let me.
You got to share the screen.
Oh, I am. I'm just trying to set everything up first. Because there we go. So I gotta set that up. I'll put that there. Okay. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you should see a document sitting next to YouTube, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I will do is let me find that.
of a
Okay. So here's the lecture, The Power of Master Fard Muhammad's Mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit. Can you see on the screen right here where my point is, where it says dictate?
Hmm.
Can y'all see it?
Glasses, gafas.
I don't
No.
see it. I don't
No,
see
I
it.
can't see it. I can't see it, but
Okay, what do you see on your screen?
I see mini player.
Mother Tynetta.
I see my
Yeah.
Mother Tynetta.
Okay, what do you see on this side of the screen?
We can't see that other side.
How about now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh man, how come you can't see that? So you can see Mother Tynetta Muhammad.
You see your mouse moving about.
Okay,
I see your mouse.
let me do this first.
Spell it. Yeah.
You might have to go through and touch up a couple of words here and there,
Okay.
but it's
Yes.
not a lot. But you might have to, if you want to save that as a document like pristine, then you can go through and put the punctuation in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the beauty of it is that after you do that and you save it as a document, you can drop it, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. You can drop it into the chat or the AI, and you can type what you want. Well, I'll show you. I'll take you step by step what I'm talking about. So if I go back, let me do this to full screen. Okay, we do that. Okay.
Hey, brother Lukman.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you should have let it go a couple more minutes so you could have did it the same way you did it on Wednesday and saw how it broke it down into the study guides.
Oh, that's what I'm about to do now. But I'm
Okay.
gonna use one that's already completed.
Cool.
Yeah, that way you can see it fresh. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I got someone else entering. Okay, now if I go here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is ChatGPT. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it says, what can I help you with?
Yes.
Now I'm going to take a document that I'm going to take the lecture, the transcription I've already completed, and I'm going to show you how this works. So if I go going here, and let me pause. So basically what we did was you transcribe the lecture, whatever lecture you want, you transcribe it. And I would recommend doing it in parts. Like if the lecture is an hour long, do 30 minutes and then do 30 minutes. And then you drag and drop it in, and you can say 20 questions, 30 questions. It's up to you. But I would say do 20 to 30. And then you can kind of do it again. But this means you can take any of the minister's lectures or the Sister Ava, or Mother Tynetta, Brother Jabril, have the computer transcribe it for you, and then produce a study guide based on whatever lecture you're listening to.
That is amazing.
That's
It really
awesome
is.
what you just showed us.
Brother Lukman, I missed how you got to Chat GPT. I missed that part.
Just Google. Just go to Google, put
Google.
ChatGPT, and it takes you right to the website, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting. Now, this doesn't have to do with the reading for the Holy Quran today, but the main thing I wanted to share with the believers, if nothing else, was the chat GPT, the AI, to be used as a tool to get us deeper into our own individual studies, which will allow us all to build and all of us will grow much more quickly into the mind of God. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, now I'm gonna share something with you. And when I was doing this, Brother James, I was thinking about you because of a conversation we had last week. This one question in the problem book popped up in my mind. And I always will begin these studies with the statement that Allah teaches man by the pen what man knows not, correct?
Yes, sir. Surah 68.
69. No, 96. I'm sorry, 96.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That-
First,
that's
yeah.
Ikra.
Ikra.
Okay. Now, I just read the first sentence. Everything I'm going to share with you right now, by the grace of Allah, is only based on the first sentence of the problem book, of this problem. But this is where, how can I put this? There was something, that Mother Tanya Muhammad said in that lecture. I recommend everyone go and study that lecture. I mean, study them all, but this is really based on what she said, that by going through our wisdom, it's designed to crack open our minds so our minds will begin to vibrate and operate on a higher frequency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you might not be as enthusiastic about this as I was, but based on the Zoom meeting we had yesterday, and there was a couple of us there, I'm still high off of that one.
Wow.
We want to get high with you, brother.
Okay.
Yes,
So for the
sir.
believers who didn't make it yesterday, we were on for 6 hours yesterday.
Yes.
We were together for 6 hours, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was
Oh.
wonderful. Okay. So walk with me,
Yes,
family. And this is there's no way I could go into all this tonight. So the problem number 7 says if 1/100th of a cubic inch contains 200 million atoms, the total atmosphere weighs 11 and 2/3 quintillion pounds. That's all we're going to deal with right now. And what I did was I took problem number 7 and dropped it in Chat GPT. I took the problem and dropped it in the AI. And then the first one I said was study guide with 20 questions and answers for problem number 7. And this is what it kicked out to me. First, it says, what is the number of atoms in 1/100th of a cubic inch? Well, that's what we're given, 200 million atoms, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, there's more information here. But then my mind went to something else that I read a little while back, and it's connected to the Dianetics. Okay, it's connected to the Dianetics. Because there's research out right now where scientists are able to store data on atoms. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so just walk with me here. I'm gonna try to keep my enthusiasm down, but this to me was just wonderful. I had a great day today. So
Look, man,
yes, ma'am.
some of us will crawl with you, okay?
No,
We'll
no,
be
we're all baby God. We're all baby gods. Y'all can understand this. So the thought went through my mind. And I'll read some of these first. Let me read some of these first. So when I typed in study guide based on problem number 7, some of the things that the AI kicked back was this. It's, how it says, so how do you determine the weight of an atom? And it says you divide the total weight of 1/3 of the atmosphere by the number of atoms. So it goes into some of the math of it. Let me see. What broader lessons can be learned from this problem? Answer. The power of mathematical reasoning to quantify even the smallest particles in the largest weights.
Hmm.
Now, here's another question. What is the parallel between atomic energy and the human mind in Dianetics? I didn't type that question.
Mm-mm.
This is what AI typed. All I did was take number
Problem
7
number 7.
and dropped it. I didn't ask no questions. I just dropped and said, give me 20 questions relating this to the mind. What is the parallel between atomic energy and the human mind in Dianetics? Answer. Just as immense energy is stored in atoms, Dianetics suggests the mind holds untapped potential and power.
Mm-hmm.
How does Hubbard's idea of release in Dianetics compare to atomic fission? Answer. Both imply a transformation where breaking down something, an atom or a traumatic memory, leads to significant effects.
Wow.
Come
Does
on now.
Closing
Dianetics,
the gap.
huh?
That's in closing the gap.
Here's one for you. What philosophical idea does cracking an atom symbolize?
Uh-oh.
It represents unlocking hidden forces, whether in nature, atomic energy, or the mind, human potential. Akram Farrakhan.
Yes.
That's the part
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How does the concept of mass and energy in physics compare to the mind-body connection in Dianetics? Answer. Both suggest that unseen forces, energy or mental power, play crucial roles in transformation. Go ahead, Sister Peggy.
So, Brother Lukman, there was a question number 1 that was from you, right?
I
That question,
didn't ask these questions. I just took
okay,
number 7 and dropped it in Chat GPT. It formulated all the questions. I didn't do the questions.
it formulated, okay,
These
even
questions I'm
number
giving,
2
these
about
questions
the
I'm giving
Dianet,
you, huh?
even the one about Dianetics,
These questions that it's coming up with.
mhm.
What if I remember correctly, let me say this. I said, give me 20 questions with 20 answers relating this problem. I think I said to study my mind or to figure out my miserable conditions. I tried to word it the same way it's worded in the problem book. I might have said to give me an understanding of my mind, but I didn't put Dianetics in it. I just put
Okay,
my
you didn't put any of that. It just came up with that
these
itself.
questions they came up with.
Okay.
Go ahead.
How might one use Dianetics to interpret the significance of atoms and energy? Answer. One could view atomic energy as a metaphor for unlocking personal power and eliminating psychological barriers. Well, we know L. Ron Hubbard did say that Dianetics is the union between religion and nuclear physics.
That's right.
Okay. What lesson can be drawn from both atomic theory and Dianetics? Both emphasize that small, often invisible forces, whether atoms or subconscious thoughts, hold immense power over reality.
Look out now.
Now, let's go a
Yeah.
little deeper. Go ahead, Sister Cheryl.
No, you've just reminding me of chariots of the black gods in what you're saying.
About that book right there, right?
Yes, right. And you also reminded me in my reading, I realized why it was important. There was people I told you yesterday that knew who we were, even though they knocked us in the head and we forgot. And it helped me understand why they didn't want us to understand mathematics, so forth and so on, because they knew who we were. Okay, thank you, brother.
All praise be to Allah. Now, we're going to take it another step. I asked an additional question. I said, basically, I'm dealing with the relationship of, oh, here's where I said I dealt specifically with the relationship between problem number 7 and Dianetics. Now I was specific. The more specific, you get more specific data. So the first one says first you got to understand the problem statement. So it just gives you a basic breakdown. How many atoms are in 1/100th of a cubic inch? Answer, 200 million atoms. What is the total weight of the atmosphere? Answer, 11 and 2/3 quintillion pounds. So it basically gives you the basics of that problem. Then the next part, it says mathematical and scientific interpretations. What is the significance of cracking an atom? Answer, it demonstrates the immense energy stored within an atom, a core concept in nuclear physics. How does the division of an atom relate to atomic energy? Answer, splitting an atom releases a vast amount of energy as seen in nuclear reactions. What is the implication of dividing an atom into 10 million parts? Answer, this suggests an incredibly small subdivision approaching subatomic particle levels. Now, how does the concept of breaking down an atom relate to mental engrams in Dianetics? Again, these are the okay. Let's see. Before I keep going, who is iPhone? Who is iPhone?
Frankie, can you hear me?
Yours is saying Amori
Yes, that's me.
Anube.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to make an assumption you're coming to us from the More Science.
No, I am a Muslim.
Okay.
Okay.
I
It's
only
just that that was my research days when I began that.
okay. The only reason why I
Mm.
said that was uh everything I'm saying right now about study guides, I just made a study guide based on the Circle 7 Quran.
Okay.
And
Well, I'm familiar with that also.
that just blew my mind. Anyway, let's get back. But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Brother
for-
All
Lukman,
right.
Yes.
assalamu alaikum. I invited her.
Okay, praise be to Allah. No problem.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay.
So it's okay. How does the concept of breaking down an atom relate to mental engrams in Dianetics? Answer, just as an atom can be broken down into smaller parts, Dianetics suggests that engrams, mental images of trauma, can be broken down and processed. Okay. Now, here's where it starts to get really, really interesting. I read recently that you could store data on atoms, correct? Some of us might have heard about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you get into quantum physics, you get into what's called qubits and things of that nature. But then I remembered something that Sister Ava said, and I remembered something that that Minister Farrakhan said. Sister Ava said that the ether, and I heard the minister speak about this as well, there's an ether that surrounds the planet, and every thought that has ever been thought is stored there. Has anyone ever heard that before?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Would that
All
be,
right.
Brother Lukman?
Say again?
Are you familiar with the Akashic records?
Yes.
Akashic
Yeah, we were actually speaking about that yesterday. The Akashic.
Okay, that's what that reminds me of what you just stated.
There he is, that young man.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, Brother Iman, we're dealing with problem number 7 in the problem book.
Yes, sir.
But what I did was I took problem number 7 and I dropped it into the AI platform, the Chat GPT.
Okay.
And all I did was type, give me a study guide with 20 questions and answers based on this problem.
Mm.
And what I'm reading to you now is what the AI provided.
Okay.
Okay. So now I typed in, so then I asked that question. I said, can information be stored on an atom? And then it says, yes, information can be stored on an atom. This is a key concept in quantum computing and nanotechnology. here's how it works. And then it kicked out all this information of how it works. Now, I want you to keep this thought in mind. There is the Akashic Records. Thought is also mass particles. Does that make sense? Because if thought can travel, then thought has to be something, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so we're
sir.
talking about particles. And just for the mathematicians present, do we remember how fast the speed of thought would travel from the Earth to Pluto for just one trip from the Earth to Pluto? Does anyone remember that number?
Average of 24 billion miles per second.
Right. But how fast? That's how fast the thought travels.
Mhm.
But how fast would it get from the Earth to Pluto?
Oh,
About 8 minutes.
how much time would it take?
How much time would it take?
About 4.
If you do the math, it takes 0.187 of a second.
Whew.
Yeah, the birth year of Master Farad Muhammad.
Right. But now, if you go into problem number, I think it's problem number 30, to calculate how many round trips it will take. It will take 53 trips, which means you have to round down to an even number because you want round trips.
Yes.
So that means you have to take that number and divide it by 2, correct?
Yes.
So if you take 53 and you round down to 52, you divide by 2, and then 52 divided by 2 is what?
26.
226.1877. Y'all see it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, Master
Wow.
Farad
Go
on his
ahead.
birthday.
Okay.
Wow. Go ahead, Brad.
So now
Mm.
let's go a little bit deeper.
Come on.
So being that data can be stored on an atom. They've already proven this. This has already been done. The next thought was, well, how much data can be stored on an atom? And the answer was the amount of data that can be stored on a single atom depends on the method used to encode the information. And it gives some more information. It talks about superposition and entanglement. Some of us might be thinking, oh man, this is above me. No, this is our birthright.
Absolutely.
In the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he who controls the diameter of your thinking or your knowledge controls the circumference of your activity, right?
Stop. Come end with it.
And this is why the educational system of this world has us looking at see Jane and Spot run and Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck. We're supposed to have our minds out. In the words of the minister, our minds have to be the diameter of the 76 quintillion miles, the diameter of the universe. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir. Totally.
And then going to Closing the Gap, page 312, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, basically, when we study the nature of the universe and the nature of the earth, it's plant life, it's animal life, and it's insect life, and the natural laws involved in that teaches us the language of how our Islam is to be used today, and that is the language of a scientist, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So now what we want to do is we want to take our lessons and our study of our mathematical theology. Now we want to bump it up to the next level now, because we got to get prepared. When the minister departs, we have to tune up the frequency of our thinking. And this is based on the words that I think it was did we get those notes from Brother Abdul Malik Saeed? Remember the notes we received from the laborers meeting about some months ago? Sister Tina, I think you remember those notes?
Yes, sir.
That was Brother Abdul Malik Saeed, right? Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And in those notes, it said that we have to maintain our connection with him after he departs.
Right.
Now, why is that significant? Because watch this. Why is thought energy so important? Because quantum entanglement allows for secure data transfer, potentially leading to ultra secure communication methods. We ain't gonna be able to contact the minister by cell phone.
Correct.
But if we're one with him in the science of quantum mechanics, that's called entanglement.
Radiohead.
The radio in the head, yes. So that's what we're talking about right now. This is why this question about the atoms is so important. Now, they have taken a bit of it's called a bits and bytes, one bit of information, and we're able to store it on a single atom. Now, this suggests, in theory, atomic scale storage could reach terabits per square inch. Does that make sense? A terabyte is a large amount of information.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So it says, in principle, a single atom could store multiple bits by using its different quantum states. Now, we can't get into all the details of all of this, but I'm trying to lead us, I'm trying to, with the help of Allah, bring us to a certain point so we can have a better understanding of this particular question in our problem book. Modern hard drives on our computer store around 1 terabit per square inch. Now listen to this next one. Atomic scale storage could reach 1,000 times more density, making it possible to store an entire internet on a device the size of a sugar cube.
Ooh. Oh.
Now this is going to get very relevant in a second. Is everyone with us so far? I don't expect us all to understand all of this because I don't understand all of it yet.
It's a form of data compression.
It's like a data compression. It's like a zip drive on steroids.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things they're using now is melanin in the storage of computer information.
Brother,
when you get into quantum physics, that's the direction they're heading into. They've been using melanin now. That's the new thing with them.
That's where we're about to go.
Well, yes, sir.
So now the next question was, because one question starts, you take an atom and you crack an atom, and that atom will crack up into 4 new components. The same thing with a cognition. That's why I always stress to the believers, write down your cognitions. Because the cognition that you have that you might think is not important is the cognition that'll crack the atom in someone else's mind. The key for us ascending to another level might be in the mind of one of the other believers in the Zoom meeting. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next question was, if we can store information on atoms, the next question I asked was, how many atoms are there in DNA?
That's what
What's that, Sister Peggy?
I'm sorry. That's what I heard when you asked the question about the atoms. I just realized I didn't hear it about the atom. I heard it about the DNA, and it was on Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it was a woman, and she was talking about storing information on DNA.
Now, as we're talking about storing information on DNA, also hold in your mind the concept of the time track, which is equivalent to Al-Kitab. Our DNA is a Quran. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because every human being is a book.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that deals with beginning of Surah 2.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So each one of us is a Quran that comes from the Al-Kitab, the mother of the book. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So then the question was, how many atoms are in DNA? Because if we have atoms in our DNA and you can store data on atoms, then by the law of the transitive law, it would imply that we could store data genetically, correct?
Yes.
Then it says this. It says, okay, it gives you the basic composition of the nucleotides. Then it says, it says A single DNA strand in a human cell has about 3 billion base pairs. Each base pair contains roughly 34 atoms on average. And then by simple mathematics, 3 billion base pairs times 34 atoms give you approximately 100 billion atoms per cell's DNA.
Wow.
Okay. Now, remember, base pairs are they're aligned in a certain order, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The double helix structure.
Exactly. Now, this right here, I don't think is a coincidence. It says the human body has approximately 37 trillion cells. Now, why is that relevant? The number 37 in the Holy Quran is al-Safa. Those are ranging in ranks.
Oh,
Y'all with me? Y'all
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. Those are ranging in ranks, like DNA. Then when you multiply 100 billion atoms by 37 trillion cells, we have 3.7 times 10 to the 24 atoms in our body. Look at all of that potential storage space for information.
Wow. We haven't been using our potential.
Nah.
None.
Now, let's take it a little bit further. And then it kicked up this other question. It says, how this compares to the number of atoms in the body. The human body is estimated to contain 7 times 10 to the 27 atoms. 10 to the 27. If you take that 2 and 7 and add it together, you get what number?
9.
9. 10 and 9 give you what?
19.
All right. Then it says, if each DNA atom could store 1 bit, the DNA in your body, now listen to this, the DNA in your body could theoretically store an astronomical amount of data, more than all the digital data on Earth today.
Wow.
DNA is already a biological storage medium encoding genetic information more efficiently than any human-made technology. So I asked the question, who's the real quantum computer?
The human being, the black man and woman.
This body that Allah gave us is an organic quantum computer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Brother Lukman. Yes. It reminded me of the fact that Master Fard Muhammad could recite 150,000 years of history verbatim.
Oh, I'm glad you
Yes,
said
sir.
that. That's where we're headed to next, brother.
Okay.
You're already with me on this one. You're already
Stop
there.
moving ahead, brother, man.
Go ahead, Sister Angela.
Yes, sir. It reminds me of the Matrix, actually. If we remember correctly, Neo's character was a descendant of the what they call it? The construct. The one who created the construct.
Mm-hmm.
He was a descendant of that person. So it was in his DNA.
Which Neo was he? Was he the 6th or the 7th one? Do you remember when he was talking with the architect?
He is actually the 7th one.
Okay. Now, you know that concept comes from Buddhism, right?
Well, 7 is a divine number.
Well, not only that, but the Buddha that we know of, Siddhartha Gautama, is the 6th Buddha. There was 5 Buddhas before him. And El Maitreya is considered to be the last Buddha. And the history, the prophecy says the 7th Buddha is going to descend from a disc-like object from the sky. I'll just leave that out there like that for now. So this is for you, brother brother Abdul Iman. So then I asked myself the question. I said, we can store data on an atom. How much historical data could we store? Now, AI kicks out this information. It says, modern hard drives store about 1 terabit per square inch now. That's where the computers are nowadays. IBM's atomic storage suggests 1 bit per atom, but advanced quantum methods could store 1,000 to 10,000 bits per atom. A rough estimate for storing all human history, text, images, and videos is about 10 to the 15th bytes, which is called a petabyte. You need 1 petabyte for every year. If a single atom could store 10,000 bits, then 1 atom could store about a single document. 1 gram of atoms could store all human history for billions of years. Y'all still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I was saying, could you imagine what the mummies hold?
A timeline of key events. An atom could hold, just 1 atom. 1 atom could hold 10,000 years of simple records. Then it said, if we stored all recorded human history, it would take about 10 to the 13 atoms, a microscopic dust particle, to store everything. So now you go back to the lesson, says, how many atoms are in 1/10 of a cubic inch? 200 million atoms, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With advanced atomic storage, a single human cell could hold an entire library of Alexandria multiplied millions of times over. Conclusion: with a single atom, you could store a small piece of historical data, but with a microscopic cluster of atoms, you could store and recall the entire history of civilization spanning millions of years. So now when you look at how many atoms are in the atmosphere, and then you look at how many atoms are in the human body, how many atoms are in the DNA, this is all storage for information. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And someone remind me, I'm going to play a small clip of the minister's words about this, so we have some, what they call stable datum on that. Go ahead, Sister Peggy.
What you just told us, and you just concluded, is that what you have gleaned from that, or did the AI?
The AI, I didn't do anything. I just put problem number 7 and said, I said this, I asked the question, if we could store information on a single atom, relate this problem to Dynetics and memory storage. That's all I did. I didn't formulate any of the questions.
And all that you read us came from the AI?
I haven't read it all. I don't have time to read it all. I'm just trying to hit the high points.
I mean, that you read to us, that came from the AI?
That's all AI. Because you got to understand, the way AI works, AI has access to all the information that's out there right now. And it can move so fast, it can grab all that information and answer your question instantly. That's all AI is doing. It's just, it can gather information.
Okay, so perhaps you can tell me how to get to that question, in the Supreme Wisdom Problems, number 2, about Master Fard Muhammad's uncle's wife, and the number 32.
Okay, so here's what you could do. If you take problem number 2, like let's say it's like you type it into a document.
Okay.
You save that document. Save it under problem number 2. You go to ChatGPT and you just drag and drop it into the thing, and then type these words: study guide with 20 questions and answers about this problem. That's all you're typing. And it's going to kick out all these questions and answers for you because you asked for 20 questions. You can ask for 30 if you want.
Okay, I have Microsoft. I have number 11. I have Windows 11. Do you think it can do that?
If you have the Word document as part of your Windows, if you have in the Word document where it says dictate.
Okay, I have to look. Okay.
She can just type it in online. That's what I've been doing. I haven't even downloaded the program, and I've been using it. You can use it right online. Just type in the.
Oh, you mean type the problem into the chat GPT?
Yeah, and then tell that you want the study guides with the 20 questions and answers. We'll do it.
So
or you can remember, you guys, you can always copy and paste.
Yeah, you can copy and paste. You can type it in directly.
If it's hard to drag it.
Yeah, the reason why I do it that way is because I'm storing everything in files and folders because I have some other projects I'm about to blow these things up now. All them Zoom meetings you saw on the YouTube channel. You know, all the Zoom meetings we've done for the past 4 years, family.
Yes, sir.
All that's about to become books.
Praise be to Allah.
God willing. I'm about to retire too, so I'm gonna need the income. So, brother Lukman about to produce a library with the help of Allah. Anyway, now, so the next question was, I was thinking about the atmosphere. I asked the question, how many atoms are in the Earth's atmosphere? And then it gives me the basic stuff, you know, the composition, nitrogen, oxygen, argon. It gave me some basic information. And then it says that there are approximately 2 times 10 to the 44 atoms in Earth's atmosphere. Okay. And then it says, then it asked me a question. Would you like to compare this atomic data storage or consciousness and Dianetics?
Wow.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets. Now we're going to take it another step. Yeah, everyone all right? I'm high again.
Yes, sir.
I'm high again.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
I'm going. So then I said, how many years of history can be stored in DNA? Go ahead, Sister Angela. You're on mute, Sister Angela.
Oh, yeah. I know he didn't just ask that question, Nicole. You trying to set me? I'm going to put my hand right down and you're going to finish. Yes, sir.
No, did you have a question?
I'll go back to it. Okay, please continue.
So I typed in, how many years of history can be stored in DNA on the atomic level? And it said DNA is incredibly dense. DNA is an incredibly dense storage medium. And if we consider using each atom in DNA for data storage, we can estimate how much human history could be stored in a single body's DNA. We're talking about the time track now, aren't we?
Go ahead.
We're talking about the time track.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So from Dianetic standpoint, we're talking about the time track. From the perspective of the Holy Quran, we're talking about the Kitab. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Sister Angela.
Okay, now I'm comfortable. Praise be to Allah. I think it connected to what I shared earlier with being able to reach into that past information, use it in present time, and prepare the future. Prepare the information for the future. Something you and Sister Peggy, when y'all were talking, you and Sister Peggy, because my thing with computers, I think, because I used to do coding. Well, I was learning coding. And I come to realize that computers are we shape, how can I say, the diameter of the computer's knowledge, just like you just made a testament. So, you know, I always had a problem, I think, subconsciously relying on computers, and that Matrix did not help. That movie, it did not help. But I'm thankful to Allah that I did, because it taught me how to think outside of a box. At the same time, from what you just said, the terrific speed the computer is compiling and summarizing these question and answers can help us. I think this is the modern, for me anyway, this is the side of the modern technology that is that can allow me to go deeper with more data. So this is the datum theory for me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. here's the major concept. If we don't get anything else, here's one of the major concepts I want us to understand. We spoke about the Akasha records. You can talk about the quantum field, but understand this, family. And this is also based on the words of Sister Ava, where she said that we are not 20, 30, or 40 years old. We are 76 trillion years old. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, in mathematics, you have something called set theory. And set theory is mathematics applied to sets or groups of things. Okay. And then in set theory, you have something called the universal set, which is a set that includes everything. So for we'll say that represents Allah, correct?
Right.
That incorporates everything. Say He Allah is one, right? Kul hu Allahu ahad. Yes.
That's the only reality. Allah
Okay.
is the only thing that exists.
Yes, sir. Now, and we discussed this yesterday, but if I take an ocean, I take a glass of water and I scoop that water out the ocean, I can get an understanding of the ocean by studying the composition that's in this glass, right?
Yes.
Okay. The minister has said that our mind is also infinite. That's something that we get from Allah, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So now, do we need to go read the Akashic records, or are we the Akashic records?
We are that because the way the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it, the universe was shaped like a circle or an oval. That way, whatever happened, it could never escape that. And we wouldn't have to go back and try to relearn things because the information would always be self-contained. So whatever happened in the future from trillions and trillions of years ago since the inception, it stayed in that circle and it can't escape the circle.
So are you saying that all that history is presently,
It's in
currently
us.
recorded
It's in
in each
every
and every one of us
Yeah,
right
'cause
now,
we
Brother
can't
James?
even keep up with this life, let alone.
Look, the information that's contained in the universe is so deep and so intense. Even when we give the greetings to each other, we don't go into real detail. Brother Imam, Brother Abdul Imam, he was there when Mother Tainetta came. No, Brother Jabril came and spoke in Los Angeles in the early 90s. And Brother Jabril was speaking. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke at a church in Los Angeles in 1950. And he said he spent the first 20 minutes just explaining what Assalamu alaikum means. He said he could have went into it more detail if he wanted to. That just shows the information that's out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Be to Allah.
You remember that?
Yes, sir.
I was
remember
watching
hearing
it today as you introduced Sister Aisha, and Sister Aisha introduced Brother Jabril.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
was watching you today. Yes, sir.
So then it says, current atomic storage research suggests that a single atom could store between 1 to 10,000 bits of information. For this estimate, let's assume a conservative 1,000 bits, which is 125 bytes per atom. Then it gives these calculations. I won't go into the calculations, but it says the entire internet's data is estimated to be around 120 zettabytes, which is 10 to the 23rd power. Here's the kicker. Your DNA alone could hold millions of times more than all global digital data.
Wow.
Then it answers this question. It says, how many years of history could DNA store? Now watch this. It says the estimated data storage required for 1 year of human history is equal to what's called 1 petabyte, which is a 10 to the power of 15. Okay. Thus, the total DNA data storage divided by historical data per year, and it gives these mathematical breakdowns. But the result is this. This means that the DNA in one human body could theoretically store about 460 billion years of human history.
Whoa.
Okay, I believe that the question for me is, how do we access that?
Okay. Remind me at the very end of this to answer that question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then it says, then it kicks out implications and relations to Dianetics, because I always put Dianetics dealing with the study of the mind. It says DNA as a biological hard drive. If atoms in DNA could be used for data storage, human bodies could act as living libraries.
Here.
Someone had a question?
Mute your phone.
Okay. So if atoms in DNA could be used for data storage, human bodies could act as living libraries, preserving vast amounts of history. This kind of goes back to possibly, I'm saying possibly because I don't know, the fact that the Savior was able to recite day by day, month by month, year by year, 150,000 years of history. Possibly. Dianetics and memory storage. Dianetics suggests that the mind stores traumatic experiences called engrams. If the brain stores data similar to DNA, it may have an enormous untapped storage capacity. One of the reasons why we can't tap into the history and the records is that these engrams are taking up the memory space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The future of atomic storage. Scientists are already exploring DNA-based and atomic level storage, which could revolutionize data preservation for centuries. Then it asks the question, would you like me to explore how memory storage in the mind compares to DNA level storage? Now, the next question that popped in my head was, how much data could be stored in the atmosphere? Have you heard Sister Ava say that memory is recorded in the atmosphere?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now, typed in the information. It says now that we know the total number of atoms in Earth's atmosphere, and it gives the number, we can estimate how much historical data could theoretically be stored using atomic level storage. It says, and it goes back, current atomic storage suggests that a single atom could store between 1 to 10,000 bits, but it uses 1,000 as a reasonable place to start. Now remember, 1/10 of a cubic inch contains 200 million atoms, correct?
Yes.
Right.
That's straight from problem number 7. Now, how many years of history could be stored? It says if 1 petabyte is needed per year of recorded human history, it gives all this information. It says the atoms in the Earth's atmosphere could store, this is a large number, 25 nonillion years.
Yes,
Now
sir.
I'm gonna give you some. Here's something to put this in your mind for a minute. Write this down on a piece of paper so you have it. When you take a number like billion, right? What is the prefix on that word?
By.
BI, right?
Goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to take prefix, and we want to use the letter P. We're going to do some algebraic theology. Okay. So for the word billion, I want you to write down this formula. Write 3P plus 3 equals the number of ciphers. 3P plus P. I mean 3P plus 3. Okay. So if I take the word billion, which is 2, right?
Yes.
3 times 2 is what?
6.
Plus 3.
9.
Now you know how many ciphers are in a billion.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
P plus.
If I say trillion, 3
Pi.
times 3 is
yeah, 9 plus
plus
3.
3.
You're gonna get 12.
12 ciphers. So if I say sextillion,
6.
3 times 6 is
18.
Plus 3,
21.
21 ciphers, right?
Yes.
That rule applies all the way up to what's called a Google, but that's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, when you get to 100, yeah, Google Flash.
It still goes, but that's a basic rule you can use if you want to evaluate the number of ciphers in a number. Look at the prefix and do it that way. So now it
Okay.
says 1.8. It says 1.8 times 10 to the 27 times longer than the current age of the universe, but we know that that's not true. We know that.
Yes.
It says, but basically says the atmosphere. Listen to this. This is cool as I don't know what. The atmosphere has enough atoms to store every recorded event in human history trillions of times over.
Mm.
Here's the next thing it spits out. How does this relate to Dianetics and consciousness? The mind as a storage medium. Dianetics suggests that, let me stop right here. If you've heard or listened to Dr. Joy LaGrue, she has something called PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder, right?
Mm.
And scientists have also spoken about transgenerational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma that was passed down to us from our grandfather, grandmother, great-grandfather, great-grandmother. When you do the math and you go back 400 years, you're going to come up to approximately 4,000 individuals on our downline. Our ancestry is about 4,000 over the course of 400 years because it goes exponentially. Parents, then we got two
grandparents,
and then
great-grandparents.
it increases exponentially to about 4,000 and some change. That means contained in our genetic makeup is all those years of trauma stored in our DNA. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It says the mind as a storage medium, Dianetics suggests that the human mind retains engrams, memories of past trauma, in incredible detail. If the brain's atomic structure could store memories like atomic scale data storage, its potential capacity would be limitless. So not only do we contain the trauma of our past, we also contain the science.
Wow.
Because we are, if you look at the history, go watch The Deportation of the Moon by Sister Ava. She says when you look at Atlantis and the destruction of Atlantis, those on the northern part fled to Africa because Atlantis went to, I think she said the northern part of Africa down to the eastern tip of South America. So you had one group that was able to go and make it to Africa and another group that made it to South America. And one of the ways you can tell is that there's pyramids in both those locations, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And another sign is this. When you look at the headdress of any of the pharaohs, you have what's called Nekhbet and you have Wajet. You have the vulture and you have the snake, right?
Yes.
Those two symbols represent what's called the two tutelary goddesses of Upper and Lower Egypt. They're feminine. In the modern sense, this is just my opinion, that represents Mother Tanetta Muhammad and Sister Ava in the modern time, Upper and Lower Egypt.
Yes, sir.
Tutelary goddesses, but on an anatomical level, they represent the pineal and the pituitary gland. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. Because when you look at the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Ra, you're looking at what's called a sagittal section of brain anatomy. That's all that is. It's brain anatomy. We encoded our wisdom into the artwork so that a left brain dominant individual wouldn't be able to tell what the hell we were speaking about. We encoded our images and wisdom in pictures. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When they fled, when you go to Egypt, you have the Nekhbet, the vulture, and the snake, right? Two separate entities, yes? Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent. Same symbols combined into one, correct?
And in Quetzalcoatl, you have the flag of Mexico. You have the bird and the snake again.
Yes.
Which, represents the minister eating up the snake.
That too.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you look at the individuals that were in Atlantis, they were the precursors to the hierophants and the teachers in ancient Kemet. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When they came and destroyed Egypt, the hierophants and the high priest, because at that time the information had to be memorized, they fled and they went west to Mali and Mauritania and became the Dogon. So Atlantis is connected to ancient Kemet. Kemet is connected to the Dogon. So during slavery, the individuals that were indigenous to West Africa, they sold out the newcomers, basically. So some of those that went into slavery, their genetic line traces back to ancient Kemet. We represent the genetic line of those who survived. So the wisdom of the ancient pyramids and the ancient wisdom is still encoded in our DNA.
Yes.
Okay. Then it says, key statement here, the universe as a memory system. If atoms could store data, then the entire atmosphere could act as a historical record of everything that has ever happened. That's exactly what Sister Ava said and what the minister has said. A concept similar to the Akashic records in metaphysics.
Yes, yes.
Consciousness and information storage. If human consciousness is linked to quantum or atomic storage, then memories could theoretically be stored beyond the brain, perhaps in the very atoms of existence.
Brother Lukeman,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, this is so heavy, man, because, okay, two quick things. One is that the song, You Write a Song for Me by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
The lyric says, sounds never dissipate, they only recreate to another space and time. Okay. I heard Brother Jabril in a lecture say that the sounds that happen in a room, those frequencies, those sounds are driven into the walls.
Yes.
And people, he didn't say this, but this is what I came up with, that if you have the right words to say, you can retrieve that storage of that information and ascertain it. And it made me think about this movie I saw a long time ago called Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. They would come to this rock and they would say, "Open, O Sesame." And the rock, it would open up.
Right.
Yes.
So it's I mean, it was like an adventure type movie, but I think there's some truth in that. And I connect that with what you just gave to us, Brother Luke.
And good brother Imam Abdul, it says, "Open says me." It's given a directive.
Yes.
I'll wait for it. Wait for it. It'll be there.
Brother Lukeman.
Yes, sir.
What you're saying, Brother Jabril, he had verified it. He said one day the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him that Master Farad Muhammad took him into the mind of Yaqub and showed him how the ideal of devil originated in Yaqub's mind. And then he said, and then, brother, Master Farad Muhammad took me into the mind of the original God and showed me how the ideal of universe originated in his mind. So whatever out there, it can't escape. It'll always be there. Also, he said, dealing with sound, like Brother Abdul Imam was saying, he said, when the messenger taught him a certain way, that if you want to say something, you hold your hand over your mouth a certain way, and that way it doesn't escape into the atmosphere and no one can pick it up.
Come on now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So we're at the last stage, and then to close it out, I'm gonna play a clip of the minister's words, so we can basically what you just said, Brother Abdul, is actually in the clip that I'm going to show you, that the minister's words. Okay. So So last but not least, we are given that. Okay, so then I posed the question. I said, okay, we're given that 1/100th of a cubic inch contains 200 million atoms. I put in the AI. I said, how many atoms are there in the entire atmosphere? So then it kicks out the math for me, and then basically, let's see, it gives a lot of good information. Then it says that the total number of atoms is 6 times 10 to the 33rd atoms in Earth's atmosphere. Then it says it wanted me to ask me if I wanted to refine it in more detail. Then I said, again, how much data could be stored in the Earth's atmosphere? And then it says that the atoms in Earth's atmosphere could store 750 quintillion years of human history.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It says 54 trillion times longer than the current age of the universe. That's based on we know the universe is older.
Yes, sir.
Enough to store every recorded event in history trillions of times over. Then it says implications and connections to Dianetics, because I was dealing with the science of the mind. Memory as an atomic phenomenon. If atomic storage were possible in human brains, our capacity for memory would be far beyond what we currently use. The mind is a living database. Dianetics suggests the brain records every experience, and Allah says the same thing in the Holy Quran. If the brain stored data at an atomic level, it could theoretically hold all memories across generations. The universe as a storage medium, if atoms inherently store data, as some theories suggest, then the atmosphere itself could act as a record of everything that has ever happened on Earth.
Go ahead.
Sir.
Now,
we don't even know what to say, brother.
How do you access that is the question. Now, when I met Dr. Mona Harrison back in Savior's Day 2002, Mother Tanetta Muhammad had a workshop on UFO. Who was at Savior's Day in Los Angeles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So she had a workshop on UFOs with a gentleman named his last name was Diaz, I think it was. Carlos Diaz. Thank you. Was that Sister Heidi?
Yes.
Okay. And I remember at the end of the workshop, I had some information I wanted to share with Mother Tanetta Muhammad, because at that time period, I had just finished paramedic school, and I had this experience while I was sitting in the classroom. My instructor, because we had to deal with brain anatomy, and this would be 2000, and this was, I think, 2001. 2001, spring. It was the spring of 2001. He showed us the brain split in half. And if you look at a brain split in half, you'll see the eye of Horus and the eye of Ra. While I was sitting there, and it was a slide, because this was before PowerPoint. This was just a slide. I saw the eye look at me from the slide. It was the weirdest feeling. And I froze. And I said, that's the eye of Ra. Because I have always been studying Kemetic science for years. So when you look at the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus, and you know that little stem that's beneath the eye?
Yes.
That's the brain stem. You see that little bump on the back of it?
Can we get the visual? Can you pull it up?
Of course. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let me get the visual.
Sister MGT, get right to it.
She wants mass. She wants mass.
Hey, hold on, brother. Get to
the guy told the pictures. I'm in kindergarten right now. I need the pictures. I need some pictures.
That's right.
Okay. So let me give you some mass. I mean, they studied this on the wheel already, but she just Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see this picture right here? This right here is Nekhbet. That's the vulture. That's the upper Egypt.
Upper Egypt.
Okay.
And this is called Wajed, the lower Egypt.
Lower Egypt.
Okay. This represents actually represents the pineal gland. That's why it has wings, because when you can tap into the pineal gland and the DMT that the pineal gland produces, this is how you have out-of-body experiences.
Okay.
This is the pituitary gland. This is called the medulla oblongata. This is the third ventricle of the thalamus.
Right.
This is called the corpus callosum. This is a tract of nerves that goes between the right and left hemisphere of the brain here. This right here is called the mesenteric aqueduct. You know what's called the fourth ventricle. Now if you look at here, you got them on both sides, right? So you have the eye of Horus and you have the eye of Ra. The eye of Ra is actually feminine.
Of course.
Okay, but these two eyes represent the left side and the right side of the brain. Does that make sense?
Sir.
Okay. We hid our wisdom in pictures. So I wanted to share that with Mother Taineta Muhammad because Nekhbet is symbolized with a little, in some of the ancient hieroglyphic pictures, is symbolized with a picture with a little, they call it a pillbox cap. Isn't that what Mother Taineta Muhammad was wearing?
Yes.
A little cap with the little thing on the top?
Yes, yes,
They
sir.
call y'all cats that too.
And if you look at the way Sister Ava used to wear her, it looked like the asp.
Her fez.
Uh-huh. And the asp represents the warrior, and the vulture represents the spiritual. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that with Mother Taineta Muhammad. I wanted to say, like, look, I've been doing this study, and when I look into it, to me, it represents you and Sister Ava. But the line was so long. This sister comes walking up. She must have seen it in my face. She said, "Excuse me, bro, can I talk to you for a moment?" I said, "Sure." She goes, "I can see that you have something really important you want to give to Mother Taineta." She said, "Share it with me. I'll make sure she gets it." So me and Dr. Mona Harrison went for a walk around the Civic Center. I shared the data with her. This is what she shared with me. She said, our DNA is coiled up and has locks on it called histones. Histones are it's like a lock, like a protein, because the more you coil the DNA up, you can get more data in a smaller storage space. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
She says, but if you look at the word histones, you'll see two words. You see his and tone. And she said, if you raise the vibratory frequency of your thinking to the higher tones, you unlock the proteins and you have access to the ancient wisdom that's contained in your DNA.
Come on now.
So now we just dealt with storing data on atoms. And if you look at how much DNA we have, how much recorded history do each one of us contain? See, the purpose of this, the purpose of this was to us to see ourselves in a whole new unit of time now. We are walking books. Now, I'm gonna say this last part. I'm gonna show the clip and then we'll finish so we can break. Allah says in the Holy Quran, He talks about giving us a book in our left hand and a book in our right hand, correct?
Yes.
If you look and clear the words in Arabic for left and right, it is synonymous to analytical mind and the reactive mind. Meaning, being given our book in our right hand means we took the time to confront our stuff so that we could let it go. And as a result, we go on the journey to become clear, okay? And the word clear in Arabic is khalasa, and the word khalasa is what's the word that's used to describe the purified ones in the Holy Quran. So the purified ones of the Holy Quran and the clear are the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
To give our book in our left hand means we don't confront the stuff that we did in our past. We can't let it go. And what happens is the stuff from our past that we choose not to confront. Remember, the minister said this, study guide number 7. When you find a spot, he said what? He said, rejoice, right?
Rejoice.
Because now you can apply spot remover. Well, to me, spot remover is Dianetics. Because that's how you remove the spot.
That's right.
Because he said, get rid of fear and get rid of guilt. We won't confront our own madness. We'll confront the stuff that was done to us, but we won't confront what we've done to other people. And that's the stuff that's going to catch us. Because the more we do evil to other people, that evil accumulates in a fine mist that the naked eye can hardly detect. And as our evil ascends higher and higher in the different currents of our atmosphere, based on our level of thinking, our evil is going to descend back in the form of sickness, aberration, and madness.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Teach, brother.
To get access to this ancient wisdom that's recorded in us allows us also to travel back to the beginning. Because in the words of Sister Ava, we are not 30, 40, and 50 years old. We are 76 trillion years old.
That's
Look at the physical body. Physical body is just an organic computer we exist in to exist in three-dimensional space. But I believe, this is just me, Brother Lukman, I believe when Allah says he takes men's souls at night and some he holds and some, where do we go to and where do we come from? I believe, me personally, I believe, because I think some of us might bear witness to this. Some of us, when we wake up with new information.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
We come back with new information. Did we just travel to the quantum field / Akashic records? Are we, in fact, the Akashic records in the form of a person?
Right. And some of them call it, brother, the
records?
ancestors. Yes.
Huh?
Some of them call it, depending on what they call it the ancestors.
The ancestors. But we're all saying the same thing. We're just using different language.
That's different language.
That's right.
We're communing with the ancestors. We're tapping into the quantum field. We're reading the Akashic records. But if Allah, the eternal, and we are a part of that, then the eternal, which contains a knowledge of all things, we are that.
That's right.
Does that make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Last but not least,
teaching.
All praise is due to Allah. Let me just play this clip by the minister, and then we'll end it.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. Let me pull this up.
Hey, Brother Lukman.
Yes, sir.
Brother, can I share? You filled us up with so much information. It had me to go into a document or a book written by a European about 110 years ago. Can I share what he said about us in Egypt?
Go ahead, brother.
Hold on a second.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the clip is called Minister Farrakhan explaining reincarnation.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
You ready, Brother Lukman?
Go ahead, brother.
You hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
He's not ready yet.
Is he muted?
No, he's
There,
not.
Brother Salam?
He's muted.
Yeah, Brother Salam, you're muted. All right, let me go and play this clip. I'll play this. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me do this. Let me do this. All right, y'all can see it says fractional theology, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take something over here, and then when you connect together, it gives a deeper meaning as to what he's saying. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
So, Sister Zakia is coming in. So I'm gonna play this clip, and then we'll cover any thoughts or questions, and then we're gonna get into the concept of fractions and how fractions can be used as a demo kit to give us a better understanding of ourselves. The name of this clip was called "Is There Reincarnation?" And from my understanding, it's dated February 2nd, 1983. The clip that I'm playing starts at the timestamp of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay.
If there is nothing new under the sun, then there's no one really new under the sun. Now, what do you mean there's no one really new? Oh, it's so marvelous. Beloved, listen. You are birthed out of your mother's womb into the mind of God. The Quran and the Bible says the heavens and the earth declare the glory of God. Who created all of this wonder? You say God did it. The Muslims say Allah did it. Very good. The Hebrews say Yahweh did it, but we all know who we mean. That one divine, mighty, supreme being. All right. Created all of this. This represents the thinking of the God, the will of the God, the way of the God, the law of the God, and the characteristics of the God. So when you're birthed into the world starts stimulating your mind, producing thought in you. Now, if you are exposed to what God created, you begin to question the light, the darkness, the change of seasons. How does this grow? What makes this different from that? Now, God has you in his mind. You can't get out of his mind. Now, some of us don't grow, but to a lesser level, because we're not seeking higher development. So we only get what we seek. That's why Jesus enunciated the principle, seek and you shall find. Now, as Black people, you see, you are not seeking higher things, so you feed on low things. And you live what kind of life?
Low life.
Life. Why? Because that's what you're calling for. If you are not calling for something higher, you won't get something higher. So if you love to party, boogie, get on down, well, that's all you find is a party, because that's what you're looking for. Where's the party, man? Here's one over here. Let's see if we can crash. Where's the reefer, man? Well, it's over here. You know what I mean? Where's the woman, man? She's over there in the bar. And that's what you're looking for? That's what you get. But now there are those whose minds travel on a higher plane. Still in the mind of God. There's something to entertain you from the least to the greatest. And when your mind aspires to greater things, you reach out on a higher level. And since thoughts are things, and every great man who ever lived is not great because he was Black or great because of his color. He was great because of what he did. And when you do things, your thoughts and your actions and your works live long after you are gone. So when you aspire to higher things, you reach a level where you attract those kind of thoughts of men that lived in this universe before who were on that plane. And then all of a sudden, your mind is functioning on a new level. And you say, wow, where did that come from? It ain't nothing new. It's been here all the time because nobody got out of the mind of God until this day.
Master Farad Muhammad. That's right.
One on the scene today who declares that he can make a new heaven and a new earth. And this is really wonderful. And the scripture says in that day, you'll see all the old prophets walking around. Not David walking around in the same old body of David. The body of David, the prophet, is back in the earth. Gone, finished. But the mind of David is right out here because David got that mind feeding off of the universe, its law, its function, and the suffering of his people. And the mind of David is available to you. The mind of Jesus is available to you. The mind of Muhammad is available to you. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and God has never wasted the mind of any of his righteous servants. It all depends on what you want out of life. Whether you can reach up and attract those kind of thoughts into yourself, then you become that man again. And David,
that's right.
And Moses,
go ahead.
And Jesus lives, and Hannibal lives, because today God is feeding you with a knowledge to make you reach out beyond the low-level life that you've been living all your life. You have the ability now by your suffering to attract the highest thoughts that have ever been thought by thinkers. They're there. Go get them. Nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. You've been here before. Not you, but the thoughts that you think. They're not old. They were fools like us before. They'll never be fools like us again because God is going to erase them. Oh, yeah. You're not the first freak. You're not the first thief. You're not the first fornicator and adulterer, liar and pimp. That's been here before because there's nothing new under the sun. But the scripture says, behold, I make
all things
new.
new.
So something new is going to come up today under the sun because that new thing is going to replace the old sun with a new sun, a new light, a new heaven, and a new earth. And the former things shall indeed
pass away.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All praise is due to Allah. Any closing thoughts, questions, comments?
Man, this was beautiful. Go ahead, Brother Lukman.
Brother Luke,
Brother
I'd like
Craig,
to share something.
I didn't even. Why have I got that echo?
I like
Somebody
to share
has their
something.
phone.
Can we share the link to that in the chat, please? Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem. The link to that specific Zoom meeting.
Oh, that was a Zoom meeting? Because I went to YouTube to try to find the video and it's not coming up.
No, of course not, because you can't find it now. That's why I'm glad we recorded it. So.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so because there's
Go
a
ahead.
video where Mother Tanetta Muhammad talks about out-of-body experiences.
I think
find it
I've
now.
seen that before. Yeah.
But we got it because we had it and it's recorded. So sister, if you go to this, I'm promoting the platform. If you go to this, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Supreme Wisdom meets Supreme Technology.
Okay.
That's where all of our Zoom meetings are.
Okay, praise be to Allah. And so,
So when you scroll down, if you scroll down, you'll see it pop up. Let me get here. Okay. So if you scroll down, you will see it pop up. Where is it at? No, that's not it. Right here. It's episode number 147, and it's at the very beginning. It's at the very beginning of, I played a clip at the very beginning of the Zoom meeting.
Okay, so I see. So this is a YouTube channel, though.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That is our YouTube channel. We got Zoom meetings going back to 2001 on here.
So it's Supreme Wisdom meets Supreme
Technology.
2386. Is that it?
Let's see. Yes, 2386. That is us.
Okay. Okay, I found you. Okay, praise be to Allah. Thank you.
Very welcome. And so there's 134 videos on there, and I just went into my Zoom meeting and realized I still have 280. So I have 150 I haven't even put on yet.
Oh wow.
But
Man, when I grow up, I'm gonna be like you, the math
brother.
theologist.
I'm just I was blessed by Allah's grace. My mother was a nurse, so I had that medical side in my DNA. My father's background was in mathematics, and I can remember, and I'm gonna give you the date, and you tell me what you see in the date. I still remember this too. We went to the post office. My father gave me my first math book on Saturday, I think it's Saturday, March the 6th of 82. 3 + 6 + 8 + 2 is 19. That was the day I got my first math book. My father gave it to me. And I've been reading ever since. So I'm a bookaholic, as you could see. I'm just
Yes, sir.
I love reading. That's my drug. Dr. Wadud, go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, and happy Savior's Day to everyone. Brother, sir, as you were talking about the locks on the DNA, to add more to that, if possible, you are absolutely correct about the histones, and to help with Sister Angela and the epigenetics. This is kind of... There is, from my vantage point, possibly a double lock on the DNA, in that the histones is one, and then there are biochemical measures such as methylation and acetylation that direct whether that gene or that DNA is able to be transcribed. And those of you who have been around the other scientists and scholars may be able to validate this thought or not, but I recall hearing that if the enemy, the devil, were to have all access, he could potentially take that information and live forever. And so some of that history and knowledge is a part of those rusty locks, locked up so that the enemy can't gain access to that information as well.
Yes, sir.
My second quick thought is, as you were talking about the atmosphere and all of the knowledge that's contained in the atoms. And so I was thinking in that moment, the atmosphere is composed of oxygen and nitrogen and other gases. Well, that's what we inhale and exhale. So if a certain amount, I believe the number is 22.4 pounds of pressure of air, if we're inhaling a certain amount of that atmosphere, then that atmosphere has the potential to unlock within us at the moment that it's within these vessels individually. Whereas the next component of atmosphere is within someone else and can be unlocked within that person as well, because we're each inspiring and expiring gases and air, CO2, and bringing in the oxygen simultaneously all around the planet. So that also kind of resonated with me, that the information and the vastness of the information, because there's atmosphere all around this 196 million mile planet. And so that was just all that I wanted to say, sir. Thank you.
Praise due to Allah. Let me throw a question at you real quick, Brother Wadu. In the study of pulmonology, we know it's the oxygen is 21%, right?
Yes, sir.
And now we expel 16%, don't we?
I haven't looked at that biochemistry. I'm not certain.
The reason why I'm saying is this: there's 21% oxygen in the atmosphere. When we breathe, the reason why CPR works is because we actually expel. We breathe in 21%. We expel 16%. How much oxygen actually keeps us alive then? What percentage?
5%.
The 5% righteous teachers.
5% is what keeps us alive, brother. All right, family. It's probably time for everyone to break their fast and then get to Sister Naira's Zoom meeting. If anyone has any final questions, thoughts, concerns, comments, whatever, by all means, the floor is open.
Yes, sir.
Brother Salam, you want to share something?
Yeah, I want to share something, but it's gonna take me into a little teaching. But I just want to say, when you talked about reincarnation, a glimpse of that is in Surah 19, verse 9, where Lord says to us, He created us before. It gives the indication that we've been here before. Surah 19, verse 9. And I'll close with that. Next time I'll go into what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a European who was doing some research in Egypt during the year 1915. And he was astonished at what he saw of the original black man in regards to his studies of what he's seen in Egypt. And I just want to quote him. It's from his book from 1915. He said, "It is truly an astonishing country. We have not even begun to deal with the history of Egypt, which starts with men, and yet already the people are masters of the wind and the sun and sound and thoughts," unquote. So he's letting us know our powers. That's why they had to put us to sleep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sister Patricia. Sister Patricia 2.
Yes.
You got it.
Ramadan Mubarak. Yes, sir.
Ramadan Kareem.
I want to recap real quickly. When you were talking about the pictures, I think you were saying the pictures. Was you saying that was a way of communication? Because I was reading something some years back, and they were talking about how individuals travel, and they were marked with like birds and different symbols and stuff of communication. Now that's how the history was captured, because it was like a code. You had to know how to read it, because that book that I was trying to find is The Language of the Birds that I haven't found yet, because I think it talks about that in that book of how the pictures and symbols was communication.
There's another book you can get your hands on. It's called The Alphabet versus the Goddess by Leonard Schlain, Schlain. And what they discovered was the ancient civilizations communicated through pictures, because the ancient civilizations were our ancestors were left brain and right brain dominant. We use both sides of our brains to communicate. The European is left brain dominant. So when they came to Alexandria and they go into South America and they saw the Mayans, the Toltecs, and the Aztecs, they saw the pictures, they get mad because they can't figure out what the pictures mean, because their right brain is not functioning. This is also recorded in the Metu Neter by Ra Amen Nefer Amen. And basically, that's why they destroyed all the symbols. They take the noses off the statues. They destroy all that because they can't get their mind. Their mind won't let them see the right brain. They can't use the feminine aspect of their thinking. But that's an excellent book to read that'll take you along those lines as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Got an echo going here.
She got two things on. That's why.
Yeah, yes, it's on two things on. Uh, who is that? Isa. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Ramadan
salam.
Mubarak. Brother, I see my brother Eric, brother Wahid. They asked me a while back to come on your, listen to your show. Brother, brother, brother. We need this so bad. Also see my good friend, brother Abdul Iman. This is so brilliant, brother. As a child, I traveled through space and people thought, I'm talking about family members said, you just a space cadet. And I wasn't even thinking about it because I was just doing it. But you made it so real. And I thank Allah for that because as I get to listening, I also want to say to Sister Tina in Compton, very good friend of mine, her and her husband, you have made this so brilliant, brother. And the Dynetics, wow, beautiful, sir. I just wanted to congratulate you, brother. It's a very good show. But I also wanted to ask you, you said somebody else was coming on after this. Could you give me the name of that platform?
Sister Naira is having a meeting, and that's why I'm trying to hurry and get off. Her meeting started about 8 o'clock. She's doing some work that will help us free ourselves from this aberrated mind. She works directly at Flag with the staff down at Flag. She has an important program in place. And did anyone else receive that email today?
Yes, sir.
Can you please put that hyperlink in the chat so we can finish this and just hit that and go right to Sister Naira's meeting?
Let me see.
Let me see if I can do it real quick.
Yeah, she sent it via email.
Yeah, if you can cut and paste that hyperlink and put it in the chat, then we can just hit that and go on to the next Zoom meeting. Let me see if I can do it real quick.
Yeah, you might be able to do it quicker. I can't get to my email for some reason.
Okay, hopefully this will work. I hope this works.
It will not allow me to paste it.
I just pasted it.
You were able to? Beautiful.
You got it in there, sister? Is that Sister Charlotte? Okay, cool. Okay, so this Zoom meeting I will post on the YouTube channel, so it'll be up. So if anyone wants to go back and review it, I'm thankful to Allah because I didn't plan any of this. I was going to say a few things and then we were going to get off and go ahead and break our Ramadan, but Allah just took it to a whole nother level. So for the believers, every day during Ramadan, Monday through Friday, we are doing this at 10 o'clock in the morning. We do it in memory of our brother Batin, who really started it during Ramadan. We meet every day and we have these discussions every day, family.
Got the
So
same link?
if you have the link, every 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern for the month of Ramadan, this is what we do every day. And we pinpoint the tech specifically to the section of the Holy Quran that's due for that day. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
We read the 30 Jews during the month of Ramadan. This is what we do every day during Ramadan. Okay. If no one has anything else, we can close out in prayer and go on and support our beloved sister in the other Zoom meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's close out in prayer.
I was mute today.
Attention prayer. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the most merciful. Master of the day of judgment in which we now live, thee alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please, Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray if they have heard thy teachings. Ameen.
Ameen.
So family, if you ever have any questions, if you need to get in contact with me, you can just send me an email. I'll be more than happy to respond. That being said and done, inshallah, I'll see us tomorrow morning, God willing, 10 o'clock a.m. EST.
Alrighty.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Salam alaikum.
Happy to see y'all.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.